What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching Car Inside. It's a new week here on iRacing, and that means C-Fixed is head to Atlanta Motor Speedway, one of our favorite tracks on the service. I'd probably place this track number 3 on our list, just behind Bristol and Nashville Super Speedway. One of our favorite places, really old surface, worn out. This is the classic Atlanta, so we're going to have a blast here this week and make the most of it, because very likely iRacing will transition over to the new Atlanta whenever we head off to the next season and they get that thing rolling. So we're going to have some fun this week and enjoy the old classic, good old original Atlanta while we can. Hot laps coming on lap number 2, 12-to-1 steering ratio, just a generic brake bias, and honestly I'm hoping that this doesn't really relate to how the race is going to play out, but I noticed that the track has so much more grip than I can remember in years past. So our qualifying lap was a lot of throttle time. I'm hoping the race plays out and is traditional Atlanta where you have a lot more off throttle time. We're very hopeful that that's the way it's going to be. But nonetheless, for our qualifying breakdown, our hot laps coming, like I said, coming on lap number 2, lap number 1, wide open all the way around up next to the wall, turns number 1 and 2, turns 3 and 4, and coming off of 4, we're going to be setting up, coming off the top of the track, kind of using downhill banking, just a few extra miles an hour. We're going to approach the start-finish line from the middle of the track. I noticed that being in the middle, there's less distance that you had to travel, being on the outside and trying to work your way in. So what we done, we hit the start-finish line right near the middle. We're going to aim for this green patch of grass, aim for the black mark on the wall, and then there's a white painted area on the track. So that's our reference points this week. Here we go. Going into the dog leg, toward the grass, up next to the wall. That's where we're going to start turning in, and then a white mark on the racing surface here. That's our left side tires where they're going to go. Start turning down as we approach this seam. Just past that, we're barely going to lift out the throttle, just enough to kind of get the truck settled. Keep the wheel as straight as possible. You really don't stay down low very long. Atlanta's kind of got just a very late apex on both ends of the track. Turn number 3 and 4, what we're going to do here, aim, stay up high above this first seam, above this first little white mark here, and start turning in when we get to the black mark on the wall. Turn down the banking just a few feet shy of getting out to this Lowe's Motor Speedway sign. When it starts to cross into your little post here, that's kind of where you're going to be apexing. Not a really good reference point, but you can just kind of feel the truck settle, know where it's just a feel thing, knowing where it's going there. And then work your way back up off the corner, outwards toward the wall, about a lane off the wall. Keep the wheel as straight as you can, never lift it through 3 and 4, back down to the grass, and to the start-finish line, 31.139. I want to show you guys a line here that I was using and kind of compare something for you guys. Let's see, here's a far chase. As we get to these black boxes on the walls and that white painted strip, I said to stay above that seam, enter in kind of high. That was our hot lap. It was there. I want to back it up to lap number 10 and show you guys something here. Going into that, I decided I was going to cut some time. If I can show you guys the right lap. I was wanting to cut some time and change the way I approached it. I was trying to get to the bottom, stay to the bottom, just cut the track and get a little free lap time. And what happened was I entered in a little lower, just full truck width below that black seam, right on the white line. And it did not like what had happened. You can see I got below the apron, but really what happened, I started stepping out here. So at this point, I'd already started losing it. The front end just wanted to dip below, and we spun out. All because of the line we chose, and we tried to enter in a little bit lower there to cut off the track. So it is very crucial, very critical, that you stay above this seam and enter in a little later than what I did here, or it's going to be very easy for the truck to step around. Another thing that I have to show you guys is kind of a bit of a race pace, so to speak. I run a few laps here, kind of done a pace that I would for the race if if we were racing. And this is kind of a typical pace that I would probably say to run for the first 10 to 15 laps, maybe throughout halfway through the race. Entering in and using kind of the Atlanta 1 reference point here in this white line just before that, kind of lifting early, but you don't want to fully lift out of the throttle here at Atlanta. If you a lot of these mile and a halves with these trucks, if you notice people, they don't fully lift. If you do, it kind of plants the nose of the truck, really sets it down on the right front, and it'll scrub a lot of tire, a lot of wear on that right front, more so than what you would think. I think that's one of the few mistaken things that goes for these trucks and for a lot of these faster racetracks is people want to fully lift off the throttle and let it roll, and it's just sitting on the front end. So you kind of want to lift a little, but just hold a little throttle in it and just gradually start squeezing the throttle and let the truck settle. When it gets in a good spot here, this is just where don't watch this and just say, oh, he was at the Coca-Cola sign, so I got to get back on the throttle. No, it was all about feel, and it was all about line, and you can kind of feel the truck settle and know when you start straightening the wheel up, and you can really get back on it and stand on it. And that's kind of the pace we'll probably be using for, like I say, first 10, 15 laps, maybe halfway. It's going to be a little different when you get in the draft too. So I have a really good video, one of the last fixed wins I have here. We were out front in clean air most of the race, and you can kind of watch my throttle time, but you can go back and find that video. There's a whole library full of stuff here on Car Inside, a lot of things from Atlanta, but some of the more recent ones. I think the thumbnail is a picture of us in the Toyota doing a burnout, so that would be one of the better ones to watch. Just make sure it says fixed and not open. Going into turn number 3 here, kind of lifting at this black mark again. Just slowly lifting out the throttle, let the truck settle down to the bottom. Getting back in it, just driving as straight off as we can. We don't want it to be pushing the nose outward toward the wall on the exits. We want it to be kind of flat and low and keeping the wheel straight and really just letting it ride. I'll show you guys here. Last lap we ran. Nope. This would be the kind of the pace that we were comparative to what we were running in that race. I'll tell you what, I'll drop you guys a link to that video in the description below, and it's a pretty good reference point, but kind of somewhere after midway or so, you'll feel the truck really not wanting to rotate very well and needing to use more off throttle time. You can see here what we're doing is we're fully lifting off, just kind of listening for that sound of it backfiring. And it may not do that every time, but that's just kind of something that plays over and over in my head. Just fully lifting off and then immediately getting back on it just halfway and then pressing the throttle back down and driving straight off. And another thing to show you guys to keep in the back of your minds, if you need to run the top and defend your position, even after about 10 laps, I was able to run the top wide open and stay up here. So if you need to defend your position, just be aware that you could probably use a little more throttle up top to defend your line. And like I said, this place, it feels a lot grippier than it has in the past. So we'll see how the races play out. We're excited to race here this week. As I was saying earlier, I feel like it's probably going to be one of the last few times that you'll get to run this old Atlanta surface before iRacing transitions over to the new repave that NASCAR has been using. Hopefully during the off season they'll continue to bring us back here. I love this place, one of my favorite places. So here's to a good week. Hopefully everybody has some luck. As I was saying before, I think I touched on 12-to-1 steering ratio for the qualifying breakdown. For the race, most definitely be using a 16-to-1. But I will drop a link to a video in the description below, and you guys can watch one of my wins from last season here in officials on the fixed setup at Atlanta. Kind of use that as a good reference. That's a video that I went back and watched today, and I think it's pretty good for throttle positioning and everything like that for you guys to watch and use as a reference point. So appreciate all the support that you continue to give here on Car Inside. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 1,000. We just rolled over 800 this week, so we're getting closer and closer to being monetized. And the best way you can help me is to hit that like button. Let me know if this video is something that's very helpful to you, and if not, give me some feedback and tell me how I could improve it, make it better, and hope you guys be the fastest that you can be here. Like I say, this may not be the fastest lap that you guys see this week, but hopefully it is the most helpful and the most relatable. Love you guys. Thanks for watching Car Inside. We'll see you next time.